Hi, this is Shannon with Pottery Beginners, and today we have the Make It Real mini pottery wheel. I saw this on Michael's as a kid's toy and wanted to share my first impressions. So we're unboxing this together for the first time, and I wanted to give you a sense of all the parts and pieces that this comes with. First, we've got plenty of air dry clay to work with, and then this is the base of the wheel that you'll plug in and turn on. This is the splash protecting container that also helps to center the clay, and it snaps on the top of that wheelbase. This thing also comes with a whole mess of tools. It comes with shaping guides, which help carve your vase shape into the clay. These are plastic pieces to help you center your clay, and they snap onto this plastic wheel head. These are carving tools, which you can switch out depending on what you want to go for. We've got a sponge and then a paintbrush and some paints when your air dry piece is hardened. And of course, some very detailed instructions that we'll walk through together. Jumping right in, there's a whole process for making sure your clay is centered and ready to carve away. We start by wetting the wheelhead with a sponge to make sure your clay sticks, and then we'll snap this plastic piece around the wheelhead and assemble it. This makes a perfectly centered cylinder when you shove your air dry clay in there. So I'm gonna put my air dry clay to the top of that line with that guide that we stuck into that plastic piece. We then press this pin in the center as a last step here. And then voila, we take all of these pieces off and reveal your clay cylinder. Snap that clay cylinder onto the wheel and then pick out a shaping guide to snap into your splash guard. Your shaping guide is going to be the vase shape that you're making. The metal pin of the splash guard fits into the plastic pin that we put on the cylinder to connect the two. Now you're ready to throw. Once you fire up your wheel, you're supposed to follow the shaping guide with your carving tool and press down on the clay to carve away the excess. This was a little bit easier said than done. The wheel kept stopping as I was pushing down, which I struggled with, and I wondered if it could have been easier with wetter clay. But eventually I got a shape that I was somewhat happy with. The shaping guide was helpful to know when to pull away the carving tool, but I will say that my end result didn't quite look like what I was envisioning. Eventually I got something that I was somewhat happy with and just kind of kept going back over it and smoothing everything out. And finally, when I felt like the piece was just about done, I hit it with a sponge for a final smoothing. Once you're satisfied, you can go ahead and pop off that splash guard and also take out that pin. And then we'll use this plastic tool to slide our piece off of the wheelhead. And the final piece here is okay. It looks like a vase, it's nothing fancy. It's not as smooth as I would want it. So I decided to go at this again. And just for funsies, I wanted to see if I could use a textured rib that I have without the shaping guide. So that was pretty successful. And then to kind of open it a bit more, I used one of the shaping tools to just enlarge that opening on the top. So this is the final piece. It's sort of a funky, trendy, bubble-shaped vase. So some general observations about this wheel. It does require a bit of patience and maybe some wetter clay to make it work. But if it's your first intro into the world of pottery, it could make for a really fun craft afternoon. So let us know if you end up trying the Make It Real mini pottery wheel.